1 2 1 2. Welcome everybody back to the Talk Titans Racing Leagues. We're here tonight for the third round here of Season 1 on F1 26. We're here tonight at the Circuit of the Americas, that's host of the United States Grand Prix since 2012. And I'm sure we're in for a great night of action here tonight, a track which is one of the few newer tracks that are purpose built for racing. Obviously nowadays you see a lot of the new tracks in F1 street tracks, big city tracks. This one built purely for racing and is a permanent racing venue all year round, and it is an absolutely magnificent track. I have to say, the Circuit of the Americas, with a turn 1, the extremely wide, incredibly steep incline up towards it. It's an absolutely fantastic corner, good for overtaking, especially to that one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight, and hopefully everybody watching is too, as we've only got one driver currently out on track at the moment. That's Edster Bashers. Everybody else is currently just either coming out or not out yet. We've got Ernie now out onto the track, second driver out there, Deborah Gaming, also getting out onto the circuit as well. So drivers now filtering out onto the track after a bit of a delay getting out onto the circuit, it would appear. C-Mac there, Lucky Luciano as well. So drivers now taking to the circuit here at Circuit of the Americas. But 2 rounds gone in this season, so a quarter of the way into the season. Obviously after tonight it will be 3/8 into the season. But in terms of the situation right now, let's try and give a bit of background in terms of championship standings coming into tonight. So for the third tier of TTRL here for Season 1 on F1 26, the situation is... hold on. Hold on, wait. Here we go. Right, so standings coming into tonight looks a bit like this. So you have got, after, oh hold on, wait. Yeah, so after 2 races you got Ernie currently leading the championship. Obviously Ernie took an impressive win at Madrid last week, so ends up on 55 points so far this season. And he sits currently 24 points clear actually of Eb the Legend, who sits in second place at the moment. Eb the Legend obviously won the first race of the season, I believe it was, at Silverstone, but wasn't here last week, and it doesn't appear to be here this week either. So actually Eb the Legend won't be scoring here tonight as it stands unless he gets himself into the session. So I'm not sure what's happened there with Eb the Legend, but attendance could cost him this season. Third in the championship coming tonight is Adam on 25 points. Adam is in the session at the moment, currently on just starting a flying lap at this very moment in time. We've got CT Sori in 4th place in the standings, the Cadillac driver, also on 25 points. There he is, just also about to start a flying lap as well. Jordan Hillier sits in 5th place, currently in this season's championship, but Jordan doesn't appear to be out on track here tonight, so there must be some reserves out there. Jordan obviously, as far as I know, the coordinator, obviously Penrose, one of the owners, racing in this third tier as well. And we've also got Ocean Blade 6th in the standings on 22 points in the Haas, just also coming around to start a flying lap. So it looks like every driver we go to is starting a flying lap. Penrose sits in 7th place on 21 points, with Carl sat in 8th place in the standings on 17 points. tied with Posty and Salates as well. So a few drivers sat there on the same number of points, interestingly. But yeah, that's the top 10 in the championship. We see Edsters Bashers just on the first lap of the session there on a 133.9, just sneaking into the 133s there, very, very narrowly under a 134. So that's a lovely lap there from Edsters Bashers so far. But we see C-Mac there putting in a lap time which is about 7/10 adrift on his first attempt here of the session. Obviously laps going to be coming in thick and fast pretty shortly. Ernie came into the pits at the end of his outlap, so he's obviously making some adjustments here. Feels like something's not quite right at the moment. We've got Adam going top of the leaderboard there on a 133.8. Adam obviously one of the high flyers in the standings after 2 rounds so far this season. He's at 3rd in the championship, but has got half the points, less than half the points for the championship leader only, so needs a big result tonight as Adam. Got Berzadeh putting it into P1 there on a 33.6, currently nearly 3/10 clear of Adam at the top of the leaderboard. Funny Wave Band has gone up into P5, just behind Edsters Bash, as we see Shoot Fizzle there going into first place there, 33.5 there from Shoot Fizzle in the Mercedes. That's nice up there, as we see Ocean Blade there getting up into 3rd place, 2/10 adrift. So close leaderboard at the moment so far in this qualifying session here for tonight's action. We've got Richie Chapper racing in this league, which is very surprising because Richie Chapper had an absolutely storming run in most of last season. I'm very surprised to see Richie Chapper racing in the 3rd tier here. I would have thought he'd got promotion, but nonetheless, Zebra Gaming bins it into the wall coming to the final corner. My goodness, as he just was coming into the pit lane, so has absolutely stacked it on pit entry there. We're also missing Hayes from this session, so Hayes has crashed out of qualifying and will be starting no higher than 14th, and I imagine there'll be plenty of drivers pushing him down the leaderboard as this session progresses. We've got FG Watson currently in 8th place, Big Ozco is 9th at the moment, and Lucky Luciano's put in a time so far good enough for 12th place. But what else has this qualifying session here at Cota got to serve us up here for the Talk Titans Racing League Tier 3 here tonight? We've got Honey Badger just behind someone who's on an in-lap or out-lap there. Honey Badger coming through the apex at the end of the long straight in towards the stadium section we go. Now obviously he hasn't had a lap so far, so we're not going to get a reference because it only compares your lap time to your personal best. You can't see what someone's doing in comparison to the session best, so we're not sure what the situation is in terms of Honey Badger's time compared to the leaders, compared to the top drivers here in this session. But nonetheless, coming through the final few corners here, the Aston Martin here with just there's 1 corner left to go now in this Circuit of the Americas lap. Here we go then. What's it going to be on the leaderboard here for Honey Badger? It's a decent time there, 34.1, 8th passes for the time being there for Honey Badger. Ollie's just coming on the exit of turn 1 at the moment, still yet to set a lap time. Got Richie Chapper and Zebra, who are both on out laps at the moment, so they'll be coming round, I would imagine, pretty shortly to put times in. We've got Berza just coming down the long straight. Funny Wave Band not too far behind there. Honey Badger is, I don't know if he's going to try to do another flying lap here, because I imagine the tyres must wear out pretty quickly around this track. Cota isn't exactly the kindest to tyres. I mean, you just have to look at the first sector to know that. You don't really need to be an expert, do you? But Berza nonetheless coming through the final sector here. So he's just coming on the exit of the stadium section now, currently in 2nd place at the moment, about half a tenth the drift of the top time there being set by Shoot Fizzle. So Berza can nail this final sector. Maybe we might be seeing a change in top spot, but I think he might be. Has he? Yeah, he's backed out of this one, so this is not a flying lap here for Berza. So into the pits comes the V-Carb driver. Funny Wave Band's also on an in-lap as well, so we'll be seeing him in a second. Honey Badger, what's he do? I think he's probably on an in-lap surely, after doing a flying lap on that previous attempt. So Honey Badger here coming into the pits at the end of that run. Is anybody on a flying lap here? Funny Wave Band on a flying lap, currently in P7 at the moment in this session. Only 4 tenths off at the pole time, so you can see the pack are very tightly bunched here. From first down to 13th place, there's 1.1 seconds separating them. The top 13 drivers separated by 1.1 seconds. That is absolutely right, you're hearing that correctly. So it's incredibly tight here between these drivers. Funny wave band just coming down the long straight, which leads down towards the final sector of the lap. See the other drivers there keeping well out of the way into the braking zone at the end of the straight, the tight hairpin there in towards the stadium section. Here comes funny wave band. Let's see, 2 tenths down through the middle sector, so that's not going to be an improvement, and also made a bit of a hash of that right-hander there coming into the stadium, so that's going to be funny wave band's chances of improving, I think, out of the window. Edster's Bashers here is just coming through the middle sector, got a bit of slipstream there off of the car that just moved away there from him into the braking zone. We come at the end of the straight. Funny Edster's Bashers there nailing the apex nicely. Got to find 4 tenths, currently nearly 3 tenths up through the middle sector, so Edster's Bashers could be on course for a provisional pole here. If we're able to nail the final sector here, then possibly we could be seeing the McLaren going from 6th up into 1st place here in the next few corners. Here comes Edster's Bashers then, with just a couple of corners left to go here in this lap around Cota, with Richie Chapper puts it on top spot there, Edster's Bashers' teammate. But what can Edster's do as here we come through the final corner? Is it going to be a McLaren 1-2 on the grid? Provisionally here in this session, it is going to be, because Edster's Bashers pips Shoot Fizzle there by 0.04 of a second, but Zebra Gaming up into 2nd place there, splits the 2 McLarens for the time being, so the track is ramping up quickly here. I think that we're going to be seeing lots of improvements over these next few runs. Ocean Blade just starting a lap here, currently 7th at the moment in this session. Penrose is coming through the middle sector at the moment, just under a 10th down at this point. Big Osco is coming down the long back straight towards that tricky braking zone. CT Sori just came over the line there to do a time good enough for 14th place, onto a 30-4-2 there from CT Sori. So now we've got the top 16 drivers separated by 1.1 seconds. This is an incredibly tight qualifying session here for the 3rd round of this Torque Titans Racing League Season 1 here on F1 26. Shoot Fizzle now up into P1, so that's quite a big margin as well there from Shoot Fizzle. Has really put them down a bit there, almost 3 tenths clear of Richie Chapper now. Richie on an in lap at the moment. Zebra Gaming likewise. Edster's Bashers also will be coming in at the end of this lap. Berza currently on a decent lap here through the 1st sector. Was that 3 tenths up for the 1st sector? Did my eyes telling me the truth there? Was that what I actually saw through the 1st sector alone? It might well have been. I don't know if that was my eyes playing tricks on me there, but nonetheless, Berza coming through the hairpin onto the back straight through the middle sector. Now he's got straight mode activated as he's got this long full throttle run down towards the hairpin at the end of the straight. As Ocean Blade moves up into 3rd place there, so lovely lap there from Ocean Blade. Berza currently still coming through the middle sector. Oh, he's lost half a second through the middle sector, so he was 3 tenths up, he's now 2 tenths down. So Berza's had an absolute mare there through the middle sector. If he can nail this final sector and improve his time, then that'll be reassuring for him, because he knows he lost half a second through the middle sector, so whatever he gets here, he knows there's half a second in the tank. So what can Berza do as we're coming through the final few corners? Is he just going to bring it into the pits and go for a fresh set of tyres here? No, Berza's going to try and stay out, and I think we're going for a cool down here. Let's just spend this final sector maybe cooling the tyres a little bit. It's going for another run here is Berza, currently in P6 though, but the potential's definitely there. I mean, that was a big time loss there. It's only letting me go down, it's not letting me scroll up at the moment. That's a bit weird. Okay. That's a bit of a glitch, but nonetheless, Shoot Fizzle there coming over to start another lap. We've got Ocean Blade probably doing an in lap at this point, I would have thought. Getting ready to go for some fresh tyres here for one more run, potentially around this Circuit of the Americas. Oh, somebody's lost it there on the exit of turn 1. Who was that? I just saw in the background whilst we were watching Penrose, somebody losing it there going through turn 1. Guess we're never going to know. But Ocean Blade is going to be coming into the pits now. Could have been Berza. No, Berza's a 10th up in the 1st sector. It wouldn't have been Berza. But Berza in the meantime doing well here on this lap. Obviously these tyres are now going to be a little bit warm because of those tyres that we saw on the previous lap. Obviously did a great job in the 1st sector with 3 tenths up, 2 tenths up now through the middle sector. but I fear may have wasted his best lap, may have wasted his highest potential on that previous lap where he lost sorry, lost all that time in the middle sector, which has definitely put him on the back foot here. So this is going to be it for Berzalem. This is going to be the final run of the session here for the V-Carb driver. So we're coming through the final few corners now. Burz is coming into the pits, so he's going to risk it. Going to get into the pits, get a fresh set of boots on and try and get the outlap done as quickly as possible. He's going to be very tight for time though. He might have to push a bit harder than he'd like on that outlap. Adam's on a flying lap by the looks of it, or it might be an in-lap actually. P10 at the moment, Adam, so this has got to be a cool down, followed by one more run here, because otherwise he's not going to be able to get around in time. So Lates is coming through the middle sector. Have we backed off here? I think we have, coming towards the left-hander before the back straight. And Shoot Fizzle, the provisional pulses, is coming to the pits. And I would assume that's going to be Shoot Fizzle's session done, because I can't see there being enough time to get round and do another lap here. So that'll be Shoot Fizzle done for the moment, and probably until we go lights out for the race. Got a lot of drivers piling out the pits now. We've got Ocean Blade coming out, so is Edsters Bashers. Zebra Gaming about to start the final run of the session here for the Haas driver. His teammate currently in a cluster of cars here as they're coming out of the they've just come out of the pits. They're coming through the S's at the moment on their outlaps. Penrose coming down the long back straight. Big Osco is just coming towards the end of the first sector on his outlap. Ollie in the pits at the moment. Adam currently coming through the first sector. Let's jump on board here with the Williams driver. Currently third in the championship coming into tonight. 3/10 up to the first sector. That's going to put him in the mix here. Surely if he can gain 3/10 in every sector, he will be right up there in the fight for pole here. Adam into the braking zone here at the corner before the back straight. Hooks it up very nicely there. Might get a bit of slipstream here off of the car in front as well. If this car's not on a flying lap, this is going to work very nicely for Adam. Looks like he's not quite close enough to be let past into the hairpin though. But the top right hand corner is going to give us all the information we need in just a second here for Adam. Is it going to be on the cusp of pole? Could be 4.5 up through the middle sector. It's got to find about half a second though in his final sector, but this is the part of the track where it's going to be ramping up the most. It's the part of the track where you rely on grip the most, so this is going to be the part where it pays off. The track evolution is going to be paying off the most here. Here we come through the final few corners. See the McLaren there getting well out of the way. There's Adam here with just one corner left to go now, currently in P10, almost a second off of the pace. This is going to take a big chunk out of that deficit though. Here comes Adam to the line, and it's going to be 33.4 there. P5 at the moment for Adam, as Ocean Blade went into third on that previous lap. 33.2 there from Ocean Blade. Not enough for pole just at the moment. Zebra Gaming has got these couple of corners to go. He'll be starting a lap in a second. Edsters Bashers is coming to the first sector here. Penrose is a 10th up for the first sector. Let's jump on board here with the league owner as he's coming towards the end of the long back straight. So here we go then. Penrose currently half a tenth down through the middle sector of the lap. Big Osco's coming into the middle sector as well. Who's closest to the line? It's going to be, I think, Penrose is going to be the first driver over the line here, out of the top 10. So here we come then. 2 corners to go for Penrose. Let's see what we're on. Oh, I think we backed out. Yeah, we backed out. We definitely backed out of that one. So Penrose having a mare of a final sector there. We've got Big Osco here with a couple of corners to go. Currently in 9th place, finding 2/10 through the middle sector. That could put him in the fight for a front 2 rows here for sure. Big Osco just a couple more tenths in it, maybe even a front row. Here we go then. Big Osco out the final corner to the line, and it's P6 there, so a big improvement. As who else is out there at the moment? We've got Zebra Game with a few corners left to go. Ocean Blade goes up into P2, finds 2/10 there on that final run. Fizzle did actually get around in time to start a lap, so we are potentially going to be seeing an improvement from the provisional pulses. But Richie Chapper could be about to spoil the party here. A 10.5 up to the middle sector. Here we come. Richie Chapper puts it on provisional pole position there by 0.3 of a second at 32.6, well into the 32s here for Richie Chapper. Oh, and Fizzle's binned it coming into the final sector there. So that is going to almost certainly finally give Richie Chapa the pole position, which he's nicked away from Fizzle as Zebra Gaming goes up into second there on that final lap of the session. So brilliant lap there from Zebra Gaming. Fizzle binned it as he was coming through the final into the final part of the lap. Zebra Gaming pushes Fizzle off at the front row, should I say. So adding insult to injury there for the Mercedes driver who was trying to defend what was at that moment the provisional pole position. But it is going to be Richie Chapa who will start this one from P1 ahead of Zebra Gaming with Fizzle in third. Ocean Blade lining up alongside him on the second row. Here we go then, everybody. We're moments away from the start of the US Grand Prix here for the Ttrl Titans Racing League Tier 3 for Season 1 here in F1 26. We've got Richie Chapa starting on pole position, having taken pole in the closing stages there of the qualifying session. It was once the checker flag had fallen, he managed to improve Fizzle's time by 3/10, and then Zebra Gaming was able to improve his time and go a tenth quicker than Fizzle, about 2/10 off of Richie Chapa. So Richie Chapa clearly the quickest in quali, but nonetheless over the course of a race obviously there's going to be chances for these two to come back at him, and Ocean Blade as well is going to be close by. I think potentially a lot of the drivers up near the front, maybe all the top 6, could have a good shout of winning this race. As we see Shoot Fizzle, Ocean Blade, Amion Curry, Ollie, Salates and C-Mac all missing their pit box here as they line up at the end of the formation lap, ready to roll here for the US Grand Prix here at the Ttrl Titans Racing League Tier 3. Round 3 of this 8-round season here for Season 1 of F1 26. It's lights out and we're underway, and Richie Chapa there gets a decent start. Zebra Gaming got also quite a good start as well there. Fizzle is having to cover off Honey Badger here into turn 1 as we see a bit of ghosting here. Coming through the first corner, there's a Haas very wide there. Ocean Blade very out of shape there as we came through the first part of the first lap. Richie Chapa still leading at the moment. We've got Berza making a position again there ahead of Bogosco, who's down to 7th place. We've got although Bogosco's actually made a decent start overall there, up into 7th place from 9th on the grid, I believe it was. Penrose there still in 8th place ahead of Ed Stabashers, with FG Watson there rounding out the top 10. We've got CT Sori getting ahead of Hayes up into P18, although Hayes still keeping it close here as these two are side by side, and CT Sori managing to have the inside but it's next left-hander, but Hayes managed to get around the outside there up into 18th place. CT Sori now getting mugged there. Oh, there's a Ferrari round, and also there's been lots of carnage there, and also ahead of them Ernie seems to be round there down to P20. So Ernie, the championship leader, has had a horror show of an opening lap to this race. Honey Badger there getting ahead of Hayes. We've got Ocean Blade up into P10, although those two with Ollie and Ocean Blade now swapping places again. The rain here, which is falling at the beginning of this race, appears to be causing absolute chaos here at the start of this US Grand Prix. We've got Rich Chapa leading ahead of Zebra Gaming, with Shoot Fizzle there in 3rd ahead of Adam, followed by Berza. Bogosco up into P6, a great first lap there from him, with Ben Penrose ahead of FG Watson, followed by Amion Curry, with Ocean Blade there in 10th. Ollie there in 11th place, followed by Funny Wave Band. Salates there. Edsters Bashers was involved in that, what we saw just as we were watching the battle near the back of the pack. We saw them catch up to whatever was going on there. Edsters Bashers was involved in that, with Honey Badger as well, also seemingly caught up. Hayes, I think, has got damage on the front left end plate as well. Lucky Luciano has just got ahead of CT Sori under safety car. C-Mac there also, so CT Sori is definitely struggling a bit here, as we see Sonic Gammy there moving ahead of him now as well, although it looks like CT Sori's just moved ahead there, obviously under what could be it's a virtual safety car. So these guys have to stick to their deltas. If they're sticking to their deltas, they can probably overtake without a problem, but Zebra Gaming looking to signify to Richie that he's ready to get on with this, and looks like we might be underway here. So yep, confirmation there, we're back. Green flag conditions once again. See 3 drivers coming into the pits. Honey Badger, Esther Bashers and Hayes there all coming in. Oh dear, as Sonic Gammy's gone into the pit wall. So that's not going to be what he wanted at all. Back to the leaders though. We've got Shoot Fizzle all over the back of Zebra at the moment in his fight for the lead. These two right on the back of the leader, Richie Chapa, and Adam's just fallen off of these guys a little bit through the first sector so far. But I tell you what, it's ever so tight here between these guys out the front of the pack. Richie Chapa's led this one from the get-go at the moment. Obviously only just over a lap into this race. It was a very slow first lap due to that VSC. Shoot Fizzle looking to the inside, into the hairpin. Is there room? No, there's not. Zebra Gaming closes that gap for the time being, as Adam looking racy, looking interested here in the background whilst these guys go at it. Richard Chapa leads down the long back straight towards this left-handed hairpin, which leads into the stadium section. Zebra Gaming still just a bit too far back as they come into the braking zone. Shoot Fizzle looking to the inside there. Nothing doing at the moment there for him. And as we look as they all come through your shot there, you've got Honey Wave Band looking to the inside, potentially on the inside there of Ollie, but Ollie closes that door and there's nothing doing there for the time being then. But back to the leaders here. Zebra Gaming is hassling the back here of the McLaren of Richie Chapa. He's looking for a way through. He knows that he needs to pile the pressure on and get Richie a bit flustered here in these opening stages of the race. If he can do that, then he could maybe play with Richie's strategy a bit, but Zebra Gaming's just made the move there, so Richie Chapper got a bit wide coming through the third to last corner of the lap, and that was all that Zebra Gaming needed. So up into the lead of the race there goes the Haas driver. Maybe now the Mercedes of Shoot Fizzle could be able to follow him through here as well. Richie Chapper seemingly just had a bit of a moment there going through that final sector there, and he's down to second place here in this race as he looks to try and defend here from Shoot Fizzle into turn 1. Shoot Fizzle trying to go for a cutback potentially on the exit of turn 1. This is going to be side by side here through turn 2, and Shoot Fizzle is going to pull off, I think, a great move there right on the edge of track limits there as he came through on the exit of turn 2, but into the S as we go, and that's job done there for the Mercedes. So Shoot Fizzle up into second place. We've got Berza now right behind Adam in the fight for 4th place as well. Big O's just dropped off of the lead pack a little bit, but the top 5 very much tied at the hip at the moment. But it's Zebra Gaming, Shoot Fizzle, Richie, Adam and Berza currently showing the way here in these early stages. Oh, it's Berza, massive slide there, fantastic save from the V-Carb driver, but I'll tell you what, that was ever so close there to going in the wall, and he's lost out to Big O's as a result of that. In the meantime, Adam is looking to try and force the issue here on the back of Richie Chapper as well as they come down the long back straight. But I tell you what, that was a worldy save there from Berza. I mean, you know, you've got to you can't sort of give him all the credit in the world because he got himself into the situation, but the fact that he managed to save it is absolutely incredible reflexes there from him as we see Shoot Fizzle there going incredibly deep at the end of the back straight into the hairpin. That's allowed Richie Chapper through. It might be about to let Adam through as well here. So Shoot Fizzle's lost 2 places there in a couple of corners. Adam trying to keep it around the outside of Shoot Fizzle. They're side by side on the exit of the stadium section, and does look like Adam has completed that move potentially. Yeah, Shoot Fizzle there tucks in, and that's well, it's not job done because he's going for a cutback now coming into the penultimate corner. Here they go side by side. Oh, he's in the background there, somebody's lost it, as that's Berza, who seems to be having all sorts of problems here in the opening stage of this race. Maybe he hasn't got the right setup for the wet conditions. Potentially he went all in on qualifying. I don't know what the situation is, but he seems like he's all over the place at the moment. That rear end is dancing around like I don't want to say what it's dancing around like, but I'm sure you could probably work it out. But anyway, currently Penrose has got FG Watson, Amion Curry and Ocean Blade right with him at the moment as well. We got Ollie Berza currently tucked into that train of cars there with Funny Waveband and Salates not too far away at the moment as well. But Zebra Gaming out the front seems to be enjoying life. Obviously got the move done on Richie Chapper, put him under pressure, forced Richie into a little mistake, and since then Richie has not been on the level of Zebra at all, and currently Shoot Fizzle looking more likely to push Richie down to 3rd than Richie is to regain that lead back, which he obviously had on from pole position from the beginning of the race. Berza with a 3-second penalty. His night is going from bad to worse at the moment as he looks to the inside of Ollie, but is too far away. Penrose has had a bit of a moment here in the first sector on lap 4. Has dropped down to 13th place, so I'm not sure what's happened there to Penrose, but clearly something untoward. Berza here on the back of Ollie as they're coming towards the end of the back straight, just a bit too far away to make that one happen at the moment then. But Shoot Fizzle here on the back of Richie as they're coming in towards the final few corners of this lap. So Shoot Fizzle here is looking to try and pile the pressure on potentially on the McLaren driver of Richie Chapper. You got Big O's Coast still keeping Adam on his toes at the moment. Amion Curry looking very close here to the back of Watson. A little bit of a double take there as they went into the penultimate corner. That could have just cost him a bit of momentum here. Plenty of drivers banging in the lap times at the moment. We've got Ocean Blade here into the pits. There's Ollie and Berza here swapping positions by the looks of it. Berza on the inside into turn 1. That's surely going to be job done for Berza, is it? Oh, I don't want to say actually yet because the way his night's gone so far, anything can happen. As they're side by side here on the exit of into turn 2 they go. Berza keeping it around the outside, still side by side into the S as we go. This is going to be tight. Oh, and Ollie there loses it, bins it onto the gravel, and that was probably what Berza wanted to be honest, because that's just taking a bit of weight off his shoulders there. Ollie dropping a few places here behind Funny Waveband, Salates and Penrose down to 12th place. And I think Berza will be counting his blessings that Red Bull ghosted through him there as it veered off onto the gravel, because otherwise he would have been collected in that, and that would have been yet another massive ball ache for him in what's been a night of ball aches so far for the V-Carb driver, currently running in 8th place at the moment at this stage. But we've got a battle here between Watson and Amion Curry here for 6th and 7th places. as they come towards the end of the... For goodness sake, shut up. Anyway, still right behind FG Watson here is Amion Curry at the moment in this battle for P6 and 7, as we've got Shoot Fizzle on the back of Richie Chapper as well. But these two have just managed to reel in Zebra Gaming a little bit over these last couple of laps. So maybe Zebra Gaming has taken a bit too much out of his intermediate tyres on these opening few laps of the race. Maybe now it's just giving these two the impetus to start reeling that gap down a little bit. Big Ozco is on the back of Adam, and Adam pits by the looks of it. So Adam coming in at the end of lap 5. FG Watson and Amion Curry here just coming through the final corner of the lap. Amion Curry a bit too far back, I think, at the moment to really put FG Watson under any significant pressure. So those two holding position for the time being. Ollie, 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's obviously what happens when you enter the pits too quickly. The stewards basically say that you have to come into the pits and try it again, but this time stop in your box and for 10 seconds. A penalty for endangering the lives of the mechanics and the personnel in the pit lane is to come in and give it another go. As we've got Shoot Fizzle all over the back of here of Richie Chapper coming out of the left-hand hairpin here, down the back straight we come. In the meantime, it does appear that Ernie's got ahead of CT Sori up into 13th place. Both of those two having calamitous opening laps to this race. As here we go then, Fizzle to the inside, potentially making this move here on Richie Chapper. Is this going to be... Oh no, he gets it a bit wrong there on the exit, and Richie there able to pull away on the exit of the corner through the stadium section. Zebra Gaming has just put a lap here on one of the back markers already, so that's the Ferrari there of Sonic Gammy, who's just had a lap put on him by the Haas driver, the lead car here. And Richie Chapper will be next to, I think, consign Sonic Gammy to that unenviable situation here. Obviously this early in the race, I think it's his AI in the car, not 100% actually, because ghosting could be down to being lapped. But Zebra Gaming and Rich Chapper, also Shoot Fizzle and Big Ozco all in the pits, presumably to put the slick tyres on. It appears that we're now at that crossover point. FG Watson also coming in. Does anyone stay out? Interestingly, we see Amion Curry staying out on the track, also Berza staying out on track. Berza's got nothing to lose, has had a nightmare of a race so far, but the track looks bone dry. I don't think that's a gamble that's going to pay off. We've got Zebra Gaming back out onto the circuit on the fresh hard tyres, just behind Salates and Penrose, who have also rolled the dice to stay on the intermediate tyres, but there's no spray. Doesn't look like it's too slippery. I think that the decision to move to the slicks was absolutely the right one at the right time here. Ocean Blade put the mediums on 2 laps ago. Now what's he been able to do over the course of those 2 laps? Has he lost time maybe? I'm not sure, but he's changed onto those tyres quite a while ago. I think maybe it would have been a struggle at first. He seems to be somewhat reaping the benefits at this point, but he's got worn out tyres, or rather tyres that are going to be a bit more worn than the guys ahead of him. And obviously the mediums, we know how quickly they wear out compared to the hards, so that's going to be a tricky situation for him later on in this stint. But for the time being, Zebra Gaming is your net leader, and he's got a 3.5 second gap right now over Richie and Adam. Adam at the moment trying to get closer here on Richie. I tell you what, Shoot Fizzle had an absolute horror show in the pit lane. He is miles behind. He's dropped about 5 places, and he's about he's probably about 7 or 8 seconds behind Rich Chapper, who was battling with a few moments ago. So goodness knows what's happened there to Shoot Fizzle in the pit lane. As Salate's here going for a cutback, trying to get the up and under here on Penrose. Penrose though managing to hold position there on that one, a bit wide there from Penrose. Salate's unable to really get a look in there coming through that sequence. We've got Amion Curry and Perza in the pits. No surprise there to see those guys coming in. Penrose and Salates will follow them in. That will release Richie Chapper around here to move into 2nd place, with Adam right behind him there in 3rd. Ocean Blade having done those laps on the medium tyres right behind these two. Here comes Adam looking to try and fight Richie Chapper here for 2nd place, going for a potential cutback here on the exit of the corner maybe, and it could be a lovely move here, but not quite there for Adam. Adam now's looking to try and get him down through the S's section, but Richie Chapper holding firm for the time being. Shoot Fizzle running down in 7th place. Good. I don't know what happened there to a Shoot Fizzle, I really don't. But running behind FG Watson currently About at least 10 seconds off of the lead at this point, glancing at the screen. So Shoot Fizzle with a lot of work to do over the course of the next 20 laps of this race. But Adam, for the time being, still keeping Rich Chapper on his toes at the moment. Ocean Blade a bit closer to Adam than Adam is to Richie at this point. Zebra Gaming still just trying to ride off into the sunset here with this race lead, which he took on lap 1 of the race, towards the end of lap 1. Rich Chapel with a small mistake through the third to last corner of the lap in the slippery conditions. It gave Zebra the lead. Since then he's driven away out the front. Shoot Fizzle has managed to get ahead of FG Watson, now up into 6th place. Ollie getting around Funny Waveband as well, up into 9th, although Funny Waveband's not done. Looking back to the inside as they come through the stadium. But Ollie looks to have that one held on to at the moment. Oh, Funny Waveband, very late lunge there to the inside. Not going to happen there, not from that far back. Ollie had other ideas on that one. He wasn't going to let that one slide, literally. But this trio still battling over second. Rich Chapper, Adam and Ocean Blade running pretty close here into turn 1. We got to Shoot Fizzle there doing the fastest lap there from P6 on those fresh hard tyres. Lapping quicker than the leaders, obviously, because he's doing the fastest laps of the race of anybody at the moment. But about 10-11 seconds behind at this point, so it's a long road for Shoot Fizzle to make up here over the rest of this race. Plenty of drivers picking up penalties as well. Adam there with a 3-second penalty. Ollie's also got a penalty to his name. Berza, Hayes, C-Mac, Ernie and Sonic Gammy all with penalties so far, and we're just a third into this race at the moment. Berza there just getting another one on the screen, so Berza's racking them up at the moment. As Ocean Blade here on the back of Adam as to come down the long back straight. Is he going to have a chance here? Ollie seems to be making a move there. He's made the move there on Funny Waveband, but Funny Waveband's still right with him here as they come down the back straight. Is he going to have a chance to come back in here with the slipstream? Potentially it's going to be a move here for the Alpine. To the inside of the Red Bull we go. Is it going to be job done here for Funny Waveband? Ollie there leaves the space, tries to hang it around the outside as they're still side by side through into towards the right hander. Who's going to have the best of this? It's going to be Ollie on the inside there. Funny Waveband still trying to hang it around the outside. What a battle this is between these two. Funny Waveband, Funny Waveband still there and pushes him a bit wide there. So there's a bit of contact there between them. Funny Waveband gets that position back and up into 9th place we go. Ollie there is still right with him and it's not going to get this one up as they continue to fight it out through these next few corners. Lucky Luciano has got ahead of Esda's Bashers in the meantime, up into P15. Ocean Blade is just a bit too far back there when Adam into turn 1. Ollie got back ahead of Funny Waveband. What can Funny Waveband do here? Down the start finish straight we go. Side by side here into turn 1. It's Ollie there trying to hold it around the outside and does so very beautifully there actually, and retains 9th place for the time being. Adam here is on the still in 3rd place, just ahead of Ocean Blade at this point. Zebra Gaming though out the front with over a 3-second gap at the moment over Rich Chapper, so he's just loving life at the moment. Here is the race leader. Pardon me, Ocean Blade well within striking distance here of Adam still. Funny Waveband and Ollie are still fighting. Funny Waveband's got back ahead. Ollie now once again looking to try and do what he did on the previous lap. To the inside here goes Ollie. This is surely going to be once again another swap of positions here between these two who are putting on a great show. But Funny Waveband now looking to back to the inside into the corner. Just a bit too far away there to make that one. He got passed down the straight and then looked to try and get the move straight back into the braking zone. That's ambitious stuff there from the Alpine driver. It wasn't going to work. He's going to go for it again. He's going to go for it again. And Ollie this time just wasn't fazed by it. Just stuck to his line, left him the space so that he wouldn't get hit or get damage. And was very smart there, Ollie, to be fair. Was very composed in how he dealt with that. Funny Waveband couldn't get that one done there. What's going to happen through these next few corners, we just don't know. These two are putting on the best show out of anybody on track at the moment. What a fight this is between these two very evenly matched drivers at this point. 1 lap tyre difference between the two of them. Burzen there with a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. We saw that flashing up on the screen there. We got Berza also in the pits. I think that's at least his 3rd. I think that's at least his 3rd lashing from the stewards there. But nonetheless, Ollie and Funny Waveband's here still battling out over 9th place. We've got C-Mac and Ed's Bashers there running very close. Also Lucky Luciano. So these three currently fighting it out over 13th place here in this race at this point. Bears are off and away there in P20. Zebra Gaming still leads the race by 3 seconds over Richie and Adam, but I think he's got this one covered at the moment at Zebra Gaming, barring any unexpected twists here in this race. He seems to have the pace over these two at the moment. Amion Curry still in the back of FG Watson in the fight for 7th place. Ollie still hasn't shaken off Funny Wave Band in the battle for 9th either. There's C-Mac here losing out to Lucky Luciano and Estes Bashers. Estes Bashers trying to keep it on the outside here of the Audi into the right-hander, into the stadium section. He's got that one done. Has he gone deep there into the corner? Potentially might have done. Lucky Luciano trying to go for a cutback, but Estes Bashers got that one done up into P13. As these guys have just joined that battle a bit late, I have to say. I was just saw C-Mac getting passed by 2 drivers and thought he might have a problem, but obviously the trio were running very close together. And that's the reason why he got overtaken by 2 cars in the space of about 50 metres. And Lucky Luciano could be fancying an immediate response here, but just appears to be a bit too far back at the moment as they come down the straight. So that's not going to happen just at the moment then. Richie Chapper and Adam still running close here. 6/10 the gap between these two. I tell you what, Richie didn't get a good run out of that sequence of corners, the exit from the S's. Maybe Adam might fancy a chance here. Half a second between them as they hit the hairpin. This could be a great chance here for Adam to take their 2nd place here in this race. He's been on the back of him now for a considerable number of laps. Here we go then. He's got S mode, he's got overtake, he's got the benefits that he needs to try and make this move. Here we go, Adam to the inside, into the hairpin, and Richie goes late enough on the brakes to keep onto that one. Very nicely done there from Richie. Clearly he's got a lot of confidence on the brakes there as the McLaren driver, so Adam still not close enough to make that move. Big Osco all over the back of Ocean Blade at the moment in the fight for 4th and 5th places. Watson still on the back of Amion Curry as well. We've got Lucky Luciano getting ahead of Estes Bashers, but Estes Bashers looking back to the inside into the hairpin. Is he going to be able to make this move as they're just about side by side? No. Lucky Luciano squeezes that one out. Up into P13 we go there for the Audi. Oh, as Estes looking to send one on the inside there. What a lunge there. And Lucky Luciano wasn't having any of that. Managed to get the exit nonetheless, and holds on to P13 there. But we're seeing a lot of lunges into that hairpin, but we're also seeing that generally if you're on the outside you can usually get the momentum and hold it, as Ocean Blade and Big Osco are side by side here coming into the S's. Who's going to come out on top in this one? It looks like Big Osco's managed to just about squeeze through there up into 4th place. Shoot Fizzle here about in P6 on the back of these guys as well. Obviously Shoot Fizzle was in the battle here for the podiums in the early stages, but something happened in the pit stops, I don't quite know what, which really derailed his chances. I think his hopes of a podium may have gone out the window, but P4 certainly on the cards here. Ocean Blade still battling with Big Osco coming out of the hairpin now down the long back straight. Big Osco getting the better exit. What can Ocean Blade do here? Back into the slipstream here for the Haas driver. Looks to the outside now. Ocean Blade is going to try and go around the long way here. Big Osco's hold down inside line, which Ocean Blade says no. You can do that all you like, mate. It's not going to have any effect on my ability to dance around the outside of you. Shoot Fizzle now looking to try and potentially get involved in this one as well. Big Osco has the tuck in there behind Ocean Blade. Here comes Shoot Fizzle sending one down the inside into the exit from the stadium section. But Big Osco's still keeping it there around the outside with some great momentum. Now, oh, Fizzle's lost it. Fizzle there with a slide as he was trying to hold it around the outside there on the not the ideal line. Got onto the marbles there off of the racing line. Shoot Fizzle now 3 seconds behind this battle here between Ocean Blade and Big Osco, and that's going to just push him down that little bit more in what's already been a struggling race. Oh no, and Shoot Fizzle has lost it there coming out of the final corner, and it's now going to do the entire lap without a front left end plate. That is a disaster here for the Mercedes driver. That's pretty much well, that's the icing on the cake, isn't it, really? After what happened a few corners before that with the slide coming through the final sector of the lap, and Shoot Fizzle now really on the back foot here in this race. Needs a safety car or a red flag to get himself back into this one. Big Osco still on the back of Ocean Blade. This fight for 4th and 5th has not gone away yet. This is still race on here between these guys, and Big Ozco there up the inside, making that move there on the Haas, but now it's going to be potentially, well actually, you know what, Ocean Blade has got overtake, and he's got more battery as well, so should be able to pull away here, should Big Ozco. Ocean Blade shouldn't be able to do too much here down the straight. He's using up all that battery to try and get on terms, but that's not going to work there. Ocean Blade having to sit behind the Aston here for the time being. Big Ozco has completed that one up into 4th place for now. Adam still can't clear this McLaren here of Richie Chapper. Ollie's gapped Funny Wave Band by just a second and a half here. Those two were having a cracking battle earlier on, but now Ollie looking to try and focus his attention on the Cadillac here of Watson, who's right in front of him now. He's right on the back of this caddy here, as potentially looking to try and make a move down one of these next straights here. The main straight coming up in a second. So maybe Ollie looking into turn 1 as a potential opportunity to get up into P7 here. Let's jump on board here with the Red Bull. Do we get a good exit? Decent enough here from Ollie. We'll get straight move, we'll get overtake here into turn 1. He's going to have it on the brakes here. Ollie up the inside. Surely that's going to be job done. Does he get it stopped in time? He does get it stopped in time. Gets a decent exit as well. But FG Watson's not giving this one up. Around the outside, they're still pretty close. Does look like Ollie's managed to get that one done now. So Ollie up into 7th place with that one. Oh, Shoot Fizzles retired from the race. I can't say I'm too surprised about that one. That was coming, to be fair, because it did seem like his race was falling apart in front of his eyes. So Shoot Fizzle out of the race here at the halfway point. FG Watson looking up the inside of Ollie into the hairpin. Ollie trying to keep it around the outside. FG Watson just manages to squeeze ahead for the time being. But Ollie's right there with them. This is allowing Funny Wave Band actually back into the battle with Ollie as well, which obviously Ollie had managed to put an end to a few laps ago. Ollie now trying to go around the outside here of Watson. Watson closing the door there, maybe just forcing a bit wide. I think it was Rubbings Racing. It's hard racing, hard but fair there from FG Watson, staying ahead for the time being then. As Dispatches here, just getting back ahead of Lucky Luciano, who sends one up the inside there. There's Lucky Luciano. That was a very late move, and a bit of a wobble there from Ed's Dispatches as well. Lucky Luciano sending one there into the end of the stadium section. The two cars getting stuck together, and Ed's Dispatches lost his front left end plate with a bit of contact there coming out of the stadium, and Lucky Luciano letting him by. That's not going to be enough here, because Ed's is now going to come into the pits, or potentially going to suffer with damage. It's one or the other. It's you can't have well, it's not going to be not going to get the best of either world there. It's going to be one or the other. Oh, and Ed's Dispatches there into the barriers on pit entry as well, and rage quits as a result of that one, which is a shame really, because the rage quit, yeah, I mean, I can't really comment. I mean, I'm a commentator at the end of the day. I've rage quit many times in my sim racing career. It's always a bit of a shame though, but it's easy, you know, it's very easy to say when you're sat here watching, you're seeing some great battles. It's a different story when you're actually in that mindset, when you're stuck in that that pit of rage. As we see Adam there moving ahead of Richie Chapper up into 2nd place. I know Richie managing to switch back there and beautifully getting that position back. Adam though is going to now get the cut back. Excellent stuff there from Adam, as he's now going to try and get the cut back again here through the hairpin for the final corner of the stadium section. But once again Richie parks his car in the right places. Adam can't get the run here through this part of the track. Richie though's used a lot of battery up. Adam's barely used his at the moment, as he's going to use that up through the rest of this lap, I would have thought, and maybe set himself up for a run into turn 1 potentially. He's got to be thinking about that here as Adam. Here we come over the line here to complete lap 16 of the race. Here comes Adam then. He's just too far back though. Richie managed to get a great final sector there to pull out that gap a little bit more. So Richie's far enough ahead in the parts of the track where it matters to be able to keep onto this 2nd place consistently. That's the first time that we've seen Adam put him under any real pressure in the last few laps. These two have been running very close, but certainly Richie's going to be a little bit concerned about that at this point. Amion Curry on the back of Ocean Blade. Still these guys battling out over P5 and 6. Ollie and Watson here fighting out over 7th and 8th. Funny Wave Band at the rear of this trio, battling over 7th place at this point, as they're still continuing to go at it here for some good points paying positions. Amion Curry there getting ahead of Ocean Blade up into P5 as well. FG Watson here on the back of Ollie. Is he going to have a chance maybe into hairpin? Not quite at the moment. Funny wave band here. It's got to have FG Watson up into P8. These two just dropped a bit off of Ollie over the course of this lap so far. Can FG Watson come back? Oh, bit of a slide there, I think. Struggling there, FG Watson. Can Funny Wave Band maybe? Oh, he's got a penalty there, Funny Wave Band. Wondering if he can close the gap to Ollie and give us a repeat of the battle that we saw earlier on. Ocean Blade in the pits here at the end of lap 17, putting what I assume is going to be another set of mediums on, probably. Only 11 laps to the flags. It's done 13 on these mediums. Wow, hard tyres there for Ocean Blade. Interesting. We'll have fresher tyres than the guys ahead, but it's got a bit of a gap to overhaul. We'll come out in clean air ahead of Honey Badger. So let's see what Ocean Blade can do in the closing laps of this race. We'll have a good tyre delta on the guys ahead, but a lot of work to do. A lot of, well, to be fair, 9 seconds to Salates. That's going to be I think the summit of his ambitions here tonight. He's too far behind the others. As we're side by side here for second place, Adam up the inside of Richie Chapper. Is he going to get this move done? Is he going to make it stick this time? It looks like he may well have done. Adam there swoops through up into P2, and Richie Chapper's fought that one as long and as valiantly as he possibly could. But it looks like Adam may now finally have consolidated his position, which he's been chasing after lap after lap after lap. Hayes has got ahead of Honey Badger, and that's why, because Honey Badger has had an accident here on lap 18. He's done something. I don't quite know what or how that's happened, but he's got damage there on the front of the car. So Honey Badger's going to be limping around. I imagine a trip to the pit lane is going to be coming very shortly as well. There's Richie Chapper just a bit too far back on Adam at the moment, going into turn 1. We've got Funny Wave Band here on the back of Ollie. See Lucky Luciano there getting ahead of Honey Badger up into P13. All coming into the pits now is Honey Badger. Obviously that's with the damage, I thought that wouldn't be a legitimate move on track, because that would be a bit surprising. Lucky Luciano all over the back of C-Mac here. Fresh medium tyres here for Lucky Luciano. This could be a move very, very shortly shaping up here for the Audi driver. I reckon it will be down the long back straight in a few corners time as we're following through the S's here. The pursuit of the Ferrari driver right in front of us. And for Lucky Luciano here, this is 12th place, could be the summit of our ambitions here, because 15 seconds up the road to the next driver, Hayes running 11th place, so this could be a crucial move here. As we see C-Mac there not getting the greatest exit out of the corner, and that's Lucky Luciano blasting past there up into 12th place on those fresher medium tyres, better traction there, and that's going to be it was pretty much an easy move there for Lucky Luciano up into 12th place. Funny Wave Band right on the back of Ollie here. These guys were battling a few laps ago. They seem to be reconvening their tussle here. Oh, Funny Wave Band with a very late lunge there, and Ollie saw that one coming, wasn't concerned, kept the momentum around the outside beautifully there. But FG Watson's very much been brought back into this fight now for what, 6th, 7th and 8th places. Just keeping an eye on the timing board. It does look like Adam's got a decent gap to Richie, or it does keep ebbing and flowing. Richie's actually just dropped back a bit, seems to have gone wide into the hairpin. So Adam now looking a bit more secure in that P2. Richie's used up all the batteries, so has Adam, to be fair. Those two definitely deploying more electric than old Sparky at the moment, but Ollie, Funny Wave Band and FG Watson still fighting out over 6th, 7th and 8th places. We've got Penrose there getting ahead of Ernie up into P15. I tell you what, Ernie's had an absolute stinker here tonight, leading the championship coming into tonight, but it's definitely been a night to forget here at Cota. It's home race as well. You'd expect better from Ernie at his home track, but clearly not a fan of Cota for whatever reason. But nonetheless, FG Watson has got ahead of Funny Wave Band. Funny Wave Band potentially looking to get back to the inside here. FG Watson, though, keeping the momentum there on the outside again. We saw, and we've seen so many times into that corner. The outside does appear to be the quicker line as you go side by side through that sequence. If you can blackmail drivers into giving you space by lunging one up the inside, but you can't get the exit required to get the position. FG Watson still a bit too far back on Ollie going into turn 1 for the time being. Richie just closing up onto Adam a little bit. This is the part of the track where he closed up on the previous lap and then Adam pulled away coming out of this hairpin just down the hill here. This was where Richie went a bit wide and threw away his chances of having an attack on the back of the Williams. So Adam there staying well out of the way for the time being. Richie not really in range to do a whole lot at the moment. We've got Ollie there getting ahead of Watson up into 6th place. So that's a job done there for Ollie, obviously, after losing that position a couple of laps ago. Funny Wave Band looking to try and get involved here, but FG Watson's not done. Looking to the inside here at the end of the straight. And Ollie there keeping it around the outside beautifully there. FG Watson tried to run him out of road. Ollie was saying not happening. Oh no! And there's contact there as FG Watson turned into the corner and Ollie tapped the rear and ends up going straight on there. Ollie, very unfortunate there for him. FG Watson and Funny Wave Band are left to battle it out over P6 and 7. To be fair, Ollie only lost a couple of seconds. He could still be in this fight for P6 at the moment. If he can just dust himself off, there's 7 laps left in this race. We're still far from over here, so Ollie could get himself back into this. It's not all doom and gloom for him at the moment. Adam and Richie just putting a lap on some traffic there. These guys are still battling out over 2nd and 3rd places. They're not on the level of the race leader Zebra at all. He is completely and utterly demolished these two over this race, and barring any safety cars, I think he's got this one pretty much sewn up here. Amion Curry on the back of Bigosco. We've barely come to this because we've been watching Adam and Richie, and we've also been watching FG Watson, Wave Band and Ollie. Those guys have been battling as well, so everywhere you look you've had battles going on. Penrose has just left the session, unfortunately, so I'm not sure. Well, obviously he's DNF from the race, so that's probably why. But this battle here for 4th place still rages on. Bigosco and Amion Curry as they're coming down the long back straight here. The Mercedes has got the slipstream. Potentially this could be where it gets done here. Bigosco is going to defend sort of to the middle part of the track. Amion Curry could have gone for the inside, elected to go around the long way here, and it could be the right move as he's got the momentum here. Now the inside for the right hander into the stadium section. Here goes Amion Curry making that move on Bigosco up into 4th place, and that is job done there for the Mercedes, and that was a beautiful move there. And Bigosco not in a position to send one up the inside into that corner where we've seen that happen so many times tonight, and that's excellent driving there from both of those two. Amion Curry up into 4th place, can now try and pull away here on those 1 lap fresher hard tyres. Not going to make a huge difference there, 1 lap on the hards especially, but let's see how that one pans out over the next few laps of the race. 6 to go here at Circuit of the Americas. Funny Wave Band just falling off the back of FG Watson a little bit. Ollie's already arrived on the back of these two, so this is going to be Ollie on a bit of a revenge tour here after being tapped in the rear by, well no, to be fair, tapped FG Watson in the rear, and then somehow the physics of F1 caused him to spin out when, you know, in real life it would have been the other way around. But oh no, and there's a collision there between Ollie and Funny Wave Band. What a shame, as those two had put on a great battle earlier on, but there's handbags there between those two as they got tied together going through the S's. Ollie is able to come out of that with 7th place currently, but I mean, I hope this doesn't spill over into something nasty. It's been good so far. It's been great battling between these two. I just hope that they can keep it tidy as Funny Weband looking to send it on the inside, but Ollie holds it around the outside for the time being. Those two though, hopefully they're not going to let that spill over into anything unfortunate. Hopefully we can continue to see great battles here between these two. Funny Weband now sending one up the inside into the hairpin, but Ollie's going to keep it around the outside here. It's got the momentum, and it's going to have the inside now for the right hand bend. Funny Waveband trying to hang it around the outside again. Ollie just taps him a little bit there, bit of contact. We saw some sparks flying off of the cars. Funny Waveband on the inside for the final left hander of the stadium section. Ollie goes ever so wide. A track limits violation would have certainly been appropriate there. Funny Waveband spinning out, and there might have been a bit of contact there which preceded that, but the end result is that Funny Waveband losing out to Ocean Blade, and well, he's lost out to Hayes, Salates and Ocean Blade there. He's lost a few seconds in the process. Ollie into the pits, and he's got a 10-second penalty for spinning the pit lane. I think Ollie might have got damage from that. I think it was contact there between those two which had caused him to spin out there, Funny Waveband. But Funny Waveband is the one who comes off better in that one, and that's a real shame because those two had a great battle earlier on. It was a really clean, fair battle, and it seems like they've gone and ruined it by taking each other out, so that's a real shame there. There is a battle developing right now between Hayes, Ocean Blade, Salates, and Funny Waveband's now been put to the rear of this quartet. It seems to be dropping off of them as well, so I think maybe a bit of damage there on the Alpine, but there's a 3-0 battle here for 7th place between Hayes, Ocean Blade and Salates. And Ocean Blade coming in for those fresh tyres a few laps ago appears to have worked out a treat here. Is now potentially in a fight for P7 here. Obviously pending penalties as well. We're not quite sure what those are just at the moment. We'll come to that in the last couple of laps of the race. But I'll tell you one battle that's really looking quite juicy at the moment is the battle for 2nd place, which has been raging on since the get-go here between Adam and Richie, and Adam's currently occupying that spot. Richie was occupying it for, I think, the majority of this second stint, and then about 8-9 laps ago I think Adam made that move, and since then he's occupied P2. Richie looking to the inside here into turn 1, just a bit too far back. Adam's got that covered at the moment. 4 laps left to go, the laps are winding down. Richie's got to find something, and he's got to find it soon. But what has he got in his locker here? A McLaren driver who qualified on pole position, 2 tenths ahead of Zebra Gaming, and Zebra Gaming in the race has clearly had the pace over both of these two. Richie might have had the qualifying pace. Zebra's no question been the one to beat with full fuel loads and tyre saving strategies. Richie Chapper has got a bit of slipstream here down the back straight on Adam. I think he might be a bit too far back though into the corner. Has a little look to the inside, too far back to even really think about that one realistically. Bit of a twitch there from Richie as well onto the power as he came into the stadium section, so maybe struggling with a bit of grip loss. Obviously has been running in the dirty air of the Williams for quite some time now, as Hayes, Ocean Blade still battling over P7 and 8. We've got Salates dropping off of these two. They're in 9th place now. Maybe Funny Waveband might be able to pick up Salates towards the end of this race as we approach the final few laps of the race. 3 laps left to go here at Cota. Honey Badger has just thrown in the towel as Adam and Richie start lap 26 of the race. Richie just a bit too far back still into turn 1 for the time being. Hayes and Ocean Blade still going at it for 7th and 8th places. C-Mac is also looking pretty hot on the back of CT Sori at the moment, coming into the stadium. But CT Sori is still with this one very much under control at the moment. Ocean Blade on the back of Hayes at this point in the battle for 7th and 8th places. FG Watson's now got a 3-second penalty, so the penalties really are being handed out left, right and centre here tonight. So we've got Adam with 6 seconds worth. That's going to give Richie P2 at the end of the race, which is a shame, because not because I don't want Richie to be P2, by the way. I just want to clarify, because the battle that's between those two, I was hoping that one was actually for position, but it doesn't appear that's going to be the case. So It's going to be Richie getting that one by default. At the moment, Amion Curry will lose P4 to Big Osko with that 3-second penalty as well. So we saw that position being done on the track a few laps ago. It's not going to count at this point. So FG Watson at this point will also lose P6 to Hayes and Ocean Blade, with those two having 3 seconds worth of penalties each compared to FG Watson's 6. So 8 with no penalties, but not within the catchment of any of the drivers in front of him, so will remain P9 for the time being. As it stands, CT Sori will pick up P11 ahead of Lucky Luciano. But other than that, we're into the final 2 laps here of the US Grand Prix here for the Talk Titans Racing League, here for round 3 of this 8-round season for season 1 on F1 26. Zebra Gaming coming into the hairpin here, just onto the back straight now, as we've got Hayes getting ahead of FG Watson side by side here into the S's. Is that job done? I think it might well be here for Hayes. So that's the Red Bull up into P6 there ahead of the Cadillac. Maybe now Ocean Blade might be fancying a bit of this as well, because Ocean Blade can still beat Hayes if he can dispatch FG Watson and get ahead of Hayes. Then that'll be a battle for P6, both Hayes and Ocean Blade with 3 seconds worth of penalties here. But what's Ocean Blade able to do here with just a lap and a half left to go in this race? Is it going to be Hayes in that 6th position, or is it going to be Ocean Blade? FG Watson pretty much out of it with the penalties here, so Ocean Blade needs to make this move quickly, and FG Watson still holding ground at the moment there at the end of the back straight. Richie Chapper's fallen off a bit off the back of Adam here, but it's not going to count. It's not going to be to any avail, because Adam has got that 6-second penalty, so that will just give Richie 2nd place on a plate once we get to the checkered flag. Zebra Gaming, the race leader, started the final lap here, as we're just coming into the S's here for the final time. We'll come to him pretty shortly. Ocean Blade is currently putting FG Watson under tremendous pressure here as they're about to start the final lap. These two, they've fallen off at the back of Hayes, so FG Watson won't have any overtake on this final lap. That's going to give Ocean Blade a free crack here at this Cadillac. Into turn 1 we go. Ocean Blade sends one up the inside here into turn 1, and is that going to be job done there for the Haas driver? I think it is. The 2 American manufacturers battling it out here on the final lap, the Haas and the Cadillac, but Ocean Blade gets that job done there up into 7th place, and nicely done there from Ocean Blade with less penalties. Obviously it was going to get done anyway, but I think Ocean Blade has left the charge on Hayes a little bit too late here. Hayes looking pretty safe in that 6th spot for the time being. We've only got half a lap left to go here in this race, but we've got to cut to the leader here, because Zebra Gaming is just coming through the final few corners of this lap through the stadium section here for the final time in this US Grand Prix, and Zebra Gaming never looked back really. Got the lead towards the end of the first lap in those slippery wet conditions, made the move on Richie when Richie Chapper went a bit wide coming through this very corner, and since then Zebra Gaming just got his head down, absolutely smashed it here in Texas. What a fantastic drive here from the Haas driver. Zebra Gaming with a very convincing and dominant victory here tonight around the circuit in the Americas. It's victory here tonight. Zebra Gaming takes the checkered flag and is your winner for round 3 of this 8-round season here for season 1 F1 26 for TTRL Tier 3. Adam over in 2nd place with Richie to complete the podium on the track, but Richie gets it on the penalties there, so Richie 2nd, Adam 3rd. Amion Curry there taking home P4 on the track. Is it P4? Yes it is, because Big Osko made a mistake out of the last corner, so Amion Curry gets it on the classification as well as the track. Big Osko 5th, Hayes 6th, Ocean Blade in P7 with FG Watson over to finish in 8th place. Salate's coming out the final corner here. It's going to be 9th place here for Salate's, not too far ahead of Funny Way Band in the end, who's just coming out the final corner. A very wide run out the final corner there for Funny Wave Band, but nonetheless P10 there for him. Lucky Luciano is just going to hold off CT Sori by the looks of it up to the line, though CT Sori gets it on the penalties anyway. CT Sori 11th, Lucky Luciano 12th, C-Mac over in P13, and the championship leader coming into this race here tonight, Ernie, with what can only be described as a horror show as he comes out the final corner. It's going to be 14th here for Ernie, and that's not going to be what he'd have wanted. I'll be commentating on him later on in his Midnight League. I've decided I'm going to do it tonight, so hopefully he'll have a better showing for that one. Berza to complete the classification there in P15, and that is that for tonight's action here for TTRL Tier 3. So Zebra Gaming there taking the win, and a very emphatic win at that, has to be said. Brilliant drive there from Zebra Gaming. But honourable mentions to the podium drivers as well, because Richie Chapper and Adam there put on a great show there with second and third. Shame that Adam couldn't fight it out on the track for the second place there, obviously with the penalty, but nonetheless, that is that then for tonight's action. Thanks everybody for watching this back. If the drivers, if you guys did enjoy it, then I'm delighted, and yeah, we'll see you all very soon.